all you thoughtfully made people out there. It's Courtney Morrison with Made Architecture and Design, back with another week in review. So last Saturday, I took my daughter out to breakfast and we went to a Home Depot kids workshop where she got to build a craft. It's something we try to do. They host those monthly and we try to do them regularly. She really enjoys it and it's a lot of fun for kids. And then we went to a family birthday party with my wife's family. Swam in the pool and stuff like that, and just had a good family time. And then on Sunday was a family day and a church day, like normal on Sundays. And then I got into the week. So on Monday, I was preparing for a pre-application meeting with the City of Roswell that I had on Tuesday. And so I talked about this before. I have a client in the City of Roswell who's going to do a mother-in-law suite in addition to their existing house, and they got the survey, and the survey identified drainage that, I mean, it's technically a creek, but it collects runoff, and there are creek buffers that go along with that. And so it was, severely encroaching on the site, and the site is encumbered because of that. And so we had a pre-app meeting with the City of Roswell to talk through the site, the program, the building, all of those things. And we got great feedback from the City of Roswell, particularly on the creek buffers. So the engineering department said that the way the creek buffers were shown is that part of it was piped and part of it was open. And the survey company had shown the creek buffers being radiused as it went into or out of the pipe, depending on how you look at the flow. But that was incorrect, in that they actually just needed to terminate at a 90-degree angle. And so that opened up a lot more of the site to be able to be used for the addition. And so that was awesome that we got that feedback from them. And then they gave some other things, like we're considered to be within 200 feet of state waters, and so we'll need a land disturbance permit. And so we've already reached out to a landscape architect who I enjoy working with and a civil engineer to get a proposal, and we'll go figure those two things out. So that's all good news on that project. And then on Tuesday afternoon, I changed phone service. And so that actually took up a good bit of time that afternoon. It's something we'd been looking into and studying and trying to figure out what to do, really just looking to save some money. And so that's what we did, and really kind of get out of the Xfinity Comcast stream. And so we changed phone service. It just took a little bit longer than I thought. So that kind of sucked up the afternoon on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I had a meeting that morning, a DeKalb County planning and zoning meeting, and myself and the civil engineer for the hardware store in DeKalb County were on that meeting. And it went great. Everything, all of our variances were approved. There were a few conditions, but I don't think there's anything we can't meet. And so that was really good news. With that, we were on that call for probably, 3 hours or so, and going through all of the other applicants and things like that. And man, it was astounding the number of people who didn't have enough information, had gone and built without permits, had built things over setbacks and things like that. And so it was really, really interesting to see that in a county where I don't live, a jurisdiction I'm not super familiar with, but to listen to them talk through, this is the Board of Zoning Appeals, talk through those issues with the applicants. And I really learned a lot, and I'm always telling clients, you need surveys, you need permits, all of these things need to be buttoned up and on the up and up, because what I heard the DeKalb County Board of Zoning Appeals say on a number of occasions is this is a self-imposed hardship, meaning they were not going to grant a variance because a homeowner or a business owner didn't comply with the zoning regulations. And so there were several instances where people had things built and they were having to be rectified, and they're really overly complicated now because they had been built. The other thing I saw was just not enough information. Folks who would show up and say, I have a lot, I want to build a house. Okay, how big is the house? What's the footprint of the house? How many square feet is the house? And they didn't have enough information to give an appropriate response. And so this is a conversation that reinforced something that I believe, and conversations I've had with clients and prospective clients, of providing enough information for these boards to be able to rule and give adequate responses, that when you don't give enough information, it leads them, to think through it in other ways, maybe that we don't intend. And so it's less likely to be granted. So we want to be able to give specific information so that they can then hopefully rule in our favor, or at least we can answer questions when they come up based on things that we've actually looked at and thought about. So it was great to get through that process on the first try. Shout out to the civil engineer who had put that package together and gotten it in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals. So glad to have that one done. And so continuing on with Wednesday, I was working on the historic remodel. The client had sent me some thoughts and feedback on the upstairs plan layout. I told you guys that I had redrawn the as-built model last week, and so kind of working on those things simultaneously. And then on Thursday, I went and measured the house where that had burned down in Mableton, and I got the house measured, got the as-built, started working on that, and the measurement went fine. It is significantly more difficult to measure a house where all the drywall has been torn out and you're trying to shoot the laser from studs and things like that. So I had to pull the tape out a couple times because there was nothing for me to point the laser at. So that was interesting. It was a new experience, but we got it done, and we'll get the as-built model drawn up here pretty quickly. And then for the HVAC headquarters company that I've been working on, those drawings were issued for permit on Thursday and submitted to the City of Marietta for consideration. So hopefully we'll get comments back in a timely fashion and get our building permit approved pretty quickly there. And then continued on with the historic remodel. And then on Friday, actually met with the client to talk through those options at the historic remodel and start, really, moving that forward. Moving away from options and presentation drawings and into construction drawings for pricing and permitting and eventually construction. And then on Friday afternoon, I got a text from a buddy of mine who has joined the military. He's going to be a chaplain, and he was just away for 6 weeks as part of his training and basic. And he just came back. He graduated the program, and he just came back. And he texted me last minute on Friday and said, "Hey, can you grab a beer?" And so I was able to knock off a little bit early and go meet him and talk about that. So I hadn't seen him in 6 weeks, and so it was good to be able to get together and talk through that. And so that's something where I've talked a little bit about before, is that I can't always do things like that, but I do try to keep my schedule flexible. And when opportunities come up like that, I try to be able to say yes to those. And so, I think that that's just how our business is structured, how our life is structured, and things that are important to us. Like, yes, we have to serve our clients. Yes, we have to make money and provide for the family, but also relationships are important, friendships are important, and these sort of informal interactions are important. And so I was happy to be able to do that and celebrate with him after really what is a huge achievement in his life. And I'm really proud of him that he's going to go on to do that. So that's all for last week. Coming up, we're going to do a little bit of campaigning for my friend Daniel Gaddis, who's running for Marietta City Council. We're going to go knock on some doors and meet some neighbors and introduce him. I'm really excited to do that. My daughter is also really excited to do that, so I'll talk about that, how that goes. And then I've got some meetings coming up, a lakehouse project I've been working on basically since I started the business. They've cleared the site, and we're going to go see the site clear and talk through some of the elements of the house and siding the house and things like that. And so now that we can kind of really see it with no trees. So I'm excited to do that next week, and I will give you guys updates in next week's week in review on those items. So that's all I have for now. If you have any questions about who we are, what we do, or how we do it, leave it in the comments below. I would love to interact with you guys there, or even perhaps address a comment in a future week in review video. Would be a lot of fun. And so I look forward to talking to you guys again next week. In the meantime, y'all be particular.